All right, let's continue the conversation in the build-up to the Finance Minister's speech, looking at what sectors of society will be looking forward to from the Minister's budget speech today. The literacy levels among South Africa's children is on a downward spiral, with a recent report from the 2030 reading panel saying 82% of grade 4 pupils cannot read for meaning. Joining us now is the social investment specialist. Her name is Shamiso Chideme, and she's going to talk to us about this particular focus or this section of the budget and just how much should be allocated towards it. Ms. Chideme, thank you very much for your time. Let's start with the literacy levels in the country. That is most concerning. These are children who are not at grade 2, not grade 3, grade 4.
Yes.
How do they find themselves in that particular class when they cannot read for meaning?
Yes. Morning. Thanks for having me. So it's two things. First thing is that we're not investing enough in early childhood development, because once a child has all the foundational skills in early childhood development, chances are that they will always be on track up until matric, because, you know, if you invest more in early childhood development, you don't have to play catch up. So that's the first aspect. Second aspect is you find children go into grade R, grade 1 already with content gaps, right? So literacy and numeracy in general in South Africa are a huge, massive problem. You know, children can't read for meaning, children can't count or have any numeracy skills. So content gaps. So teachers don't pick up that children have content gaps, and then they get pushed through the grading system up until they get to grade 4. And this keeps happening. So at grade 4, they keep going on to the cycle till they get to grade 10 and grade 12, and then they don't pass matric. And then we wonder what happened. So content gaps are our biggest challenge in South Africa, as well as not investing enough in early childhood development.
So let's focus then the attention on early childhood development. What kind of investment needs to go that way? I'm not only talking financial resources, the structural the structural reforms that need to go into that, so that that area of education is properly capacitated.
Yes. So I think, you know, if you look at what the president's speech during the SANA, you know, they were mostly focused on creating access to ECD centers, but access is not enough. How do we provide quality early learning for children, you know, to make sure that within ECD centers, they are actually learning? You know, there's, you know, the cognitive skills are there, you know, as well as, you know, nutrition, because nutrition does play a big part to children being able to thrive. So I think, you know, in terms of access, I think government has tried to create more and more access for children to go into ECD centers. But we always lose it when it comes to the quality of early learning programs in ECD centers. And I think that's where everybody needs to draw their attention, because you can create access for 2-3 million children. But if we don't have quality programs, we're still going to have the same challenges within, you know, ECD.
And those quality programs are going to be driven by the educators. These are the people that look after these children. These are the people that help develop the cognitive skills of these children. Are those people, shouldn't those people be perhaps one of the primary focus of the education system, to say the people we put there in the early childhood development, those are people that should be well developed themselves in terms of the curriculum or the programs that they need to champion?
Yes, definitely. And you also find that even in the ECD centers, they don't even have the material to teach children, you know, because children learn through play. So if you don't have the necessary, you know, toys or equipment, then how do we stimulate their growth? So we have two challenges, you know. We need to capacitate our practitioners, you know, and I think the NGOs and the NPOs really do invest the time to ensure that, you know, they try as best as they can to equip practitioners. And I think even businesses do try and, donate materials into schools, but it's still not enough, to cover the large gap that we have. And, when you do outcomes assessments of the children when they turn 5, you actually find that they're still not ready for grade R, but they get pushed into grade R because, it becomes the next person's problem, and it becomes the next person's problem, and then it accumulates. And then we wonder why, our matric pass rates are not good, or why children are dropping out, or, So it's just, everything starts here, and I think we would have wanted the president to really focus on how do we provide quality as opposed to looking at the achievements in terms of access.
Talking as a young parent myself, the involvement of a parent in their child's education is one of those that is just as important. How much emphasis should go towards that? Yes, the schooling environment is important, but the parents' involvement in their child's education, how critical is that?
So parental involvement is very critical. So what we were hoping is that when ECD moved from DSD to DBE, parents would actually start looking at early childhood development as something very critical and necessary for their children. So everybody, parents in communities look at it as a home care. I need to leave my child somewhere so that I can go to work. But, parental involvement is necessary because that's how you hold teachers, government accountable, when you actually know what exactly is happening in your child's school, and you're actually able to then catch up after school, because a child can't fully learn in an ECD center. There's a part that a parent actually needs to be involved in terms of, the growth and the learning of their children. So I think that's something that we've tried to create awareness to communities, to the public around parental involvement, because it's very critical at this aspect of a child's life.
Final question to you. We, over the years, have been told that education gets the lion's share of the budget. In recent years, do you think that has stayed true, or you're finding that because of the budget cuts, less and less money is going into education?
Yes, so every time there's a crisis in South Africa, education always takes a hit. So you see during the COVID-19 pandemic, government put all its resources towards the pandemic, and then the education aspect takes a hit. So every time there is something that's happening within South Africa, education is the first one to get a budget cut. And we're expecting that as well in the finance minister's speech today, that education will obviously take the back seat in priority of the energy crisis.
Well, that can't be good news. Hopefully something different will be announced by the minister. Let me thank you for your time, Shamiso Chideme. She is a social investment specialist.